Buen día, bienvenidos a conversar con Kong Yan-yu. El pasado viernes 17 de mayo, con colegas mexicanos que conoció durante su visita a México en noviembre de 2019. El doctor Kong Yan-yu estaba en Roma en la cumbre climática del Vaticano. El título de la conferencia que dio en el Vaticano y que será accesible es Creando un planeta esponja, soluciones hídricas basadas en la naturaleza para enfrentar la crisis climática. En el diálogo tenemos el gusto de que estén Carlos Galindo, el gran ecólogo mexicano, el arquitecto José Luis CORTÉS, que acaba de ser presidente de los arquitectos del mundo, una trayectoria en donde todos admiramos, el arquitecto HERBIET, que Kong Yan-yu realmente tuvo un acercamiento con Laurent profesional muy importante durante su visita, y el arquitecto IÑAKI ECHEVERRÍAY a cargo de esta magna obra de 24,000 hectáreas en Texcoco. Y con su servidor, yo soy Daniel DULTZIN y tuve el privilegio de invitar y organizar la visita de Kong Yan-yu a México.
Debate discussion yesterday, and Francis Pope also have a good meeting, and he says that sponge planet, beautiful, it's beautiful. So I just quote his word.
Thank
It's
you.
clear, yeah.
Wonderful lecture, wonderful.
Thanks.
Very good. Congratulations, Kong Yan-yu.
Thank you. Yeah.
As you know, Kong Yan, your friends that you met in Mexico prepared some questions, which of course we will leave them written. We would love to have a written document of your relationship with Mexico and with the developing world. Maybe Carlos Galindo would like to start by giving you his reactions. Carlos.
Thank you, Kong Yan. It's great to see you. It's one more of you. One more of your inspiring talks, and I think that you have done an amazing job. We are all really inspired by your work, and I think what is really needed is to promote what you are doing. This presentation that you have shared, I think we have to take it to the media and make a lot of noise about it, because you have already put the dots over the right places. So thank you very much. It's great to hear you. It's a great pleasure. I'm going to start with one question, which is a bit particular, but I am really impressed by your perspective, by your approach, which is very different from what we have learned on restoration from the American school or the European school. What I have, I'm very impressed how you use the flow and dynamics of water to restore in such a short time these amazing landscapes, and they are just beautiful. My question goes to the places that have not as much water. Let's think about the north of Mexico and the places that are really seasonal, where you have these wetlands that might disappear during the dry season, and people say that they look ugly and they smell. And so I would like to hear your thoughts about seasonal landscapes, and what have you thought about them?
Sponge city is exactly targeting at the seasonal situation. Yes. I was a farmer for 17 years in my village, which is a monsoon village, suffering monsoon we have very dry season, we have very wet season. Well, in your case, we are talking about maybe half a year wet, half a year, 6 months very dry, right? So sponge idea is to retain water, to recharge the aquifer. So keep water underground, not necessarily wetland. Okay, wetland is just in case you have, wetland is also seasonable, of course. You have wetland. So it's a matter of choice, of design. You cannot complain. You have Amazon. Amazon is big, sponge. Africa, you have sponge. Nature have sponge. Do they smell badly? No, they can be beautiful. They have biodiversity. They are beautifully, because nature adapts the system. They have mosquito, but there's not so much mosquito as we experience during when water is bad. Because in the water, if you have this nature-based solution, nature balance it, right? So the key is not about keep water on the surface of the ground. The key is to retain water, to recharge the aquifer, because the globe is thirsty. The globe needs water. In China, 20 meters drop in 30 years. In America, also, in US, groundwater drop. In your country, of course, groundwater drop because people overuse the aquifer, overuse groundwater. Now that's the idea. So if you have you have right design, if you have right science based, it is a science based, you will not have this problem. It certainly means you will regulate. It is based on this seasonal trend. Otherwise, make no sense, right? For example, in European countries, in England, in Netherlands, in South nation, South European countries used to be have very mild climate. Now that's why they have pastoral landscape. They have grass, they have pasture, the ranch. They don't have terraces. I mean, Italy have terraces, but England, they all depend on nature because the nature is so kind, right? So mild. But we don't have. I mean, Amazon don't have. China don't have. Mexico don't have. So that's why we have developed this knowledge. Thousands of years of wisdom to adapt to the nature. We need to survive. That's why I think the sponge today is based on this kind of knowledge. So yes, it is targeting on your situation. And by the way, climate change means even the dry areas, as I mentioned, in Arab, in Dubai, in Libya, in Brazil, you have anywhere, you are going to have flood. Anywhere, with the driest desert, you are expecting flood. So that's why you need to keep water, go to the ground, not flush away, Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kongyan. You remember Laurent also. He's incredibly active. Laurent, we had dinner with him. So, yeah. Laurent, if you can react to Kongyan and Carlos, thank you.
Dr. Yu, it's a pleasure as always talking to you. Congratulations on your work.
Yeah.
It's actually shorter than the last time. Speaking of land, you need land to slow water and infiltrate and retain. In your experience when you visited Mexico, you will see that land use is one of our biggest issues, in the sense that speculation in either formal or informal settlements are in direct. It's a problem if we want to have a land for detention, retention, infiltration, and creating these sponge cities. What is the way the Chinese, first the ownership of land and how you have worked with communities so you can get them involved and support these projects instead of blocking them? And how could we do? What's your advice for the Mexican environments so we can get the communities involved in projects? No?
Yeah. Well, I have to admit that we do have different land property regulation system. Yeah, in China, all the land public owned, and certainly in your country you have this private ownership. Yeah, but that doesn't matter. I would say that doesn't matter. I mean, 5,000 years ago, the land is privately owned in China, right? But I mean, 2,000 years ago, not 5,000, that's too long. I mean, even 1,000 years ago, we already have to believe that whenever you cultivate 4 hectares of land, you need to give 1 hectare of land to water to regulate the seasonal water situation, which means 20% of land. When you cultivate this land, you need to give 20% of land to water. Now, do we have 20% in the city? Yes. The answer is yes. Yeah. Even in the dense area we visited the last time together in Mexico, the river, you have the river from mountain, run across the city, and go to the lake. Actually, I find that you have enough land by the river. But the people face back to the river. Remember? And they have backyard. And they have front yard. And they have roof. You only have 2 floors. You have only 1 floor of buildings by the river. Now, so the values of the land is just misused. You misuse the land, actually. So number 1, you have the land. Right? It's not water is not greedy as a pure human being. Based on my research, you only need 1% of the national land, global-wise. 1%. I mean, average. Water only need 1%. But if you give water 10% of the global surface, it will enough to handle the water falling on the ground, keep on the water. So I'm talking about the drainage system, the watershed system, from the mountain to the farm, to the city, to the village, to the city, and to the lake and the ocean. So when you think about that, you can keep water in the farm, you can keep water in the mountainous area, you certainly can keep water in your backyard. Just create porous landscape. Let water stay. Let water stay. If you even don't have backyard, you have your roof. You have the street green system. Look at your bank system. The road bank. The trees always plant higher than the road. No, that's wrong, right? Let the tree lower down. Let the green space lower than the road, lower than the building. You can easily hold all the water from within the city. But the flood can come from the regional watershed. So that's why I push the sponge city to the sponge planet. You have to think as a watershed. Yeah. So you do have space, but certainly you have to make wise use of the space. I will say you can easily make a 1 single floor building to 2 floor building, or 3 floor building. Then you have 100% land lease for water. I visited with Daniel to Mexico. I can see the river runs through the city, and you have plenty of space, green space around the river. But the river is paved. The river is paved, and the water cannot run into the river. Now that can be easily transformed. Now those space, I think you can easily use for sponge. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yu.
Thank you. A small question, Jose Luis. If you can ask your question and also in Spanish, so people that are in Facebook can understand it, brief, if you can.
Claro. Well, Konjan, it's a great pleasure to see you. I always admire your approach, and I agree that it's a good methodology to implement everywhere. It can help very much to all the problems that we have with water. I will say in Spanish some words that, como todos sabemos, quisiéramos mitigar los daños que le estamos haciendo al planeta. Necesitamos ciudades más resilientes, ciudades más saludables, ciudades más equitativas, más inclusivas, ciudades más seguras, ciudades en donde podamos aplicar más hoy en día toda la tecnología que está disponible a nuestro alcance, ciudades más digitales, que con eso creo yo la tecnología nos puede ayudar mucho a mejorar nuestras ciudades. Necesitamos asimismo ciudades más bellas. El tema es cómo podemos, con la metodología de Konjan, es decir, lograr muchos de estos objetivos en cuanto a tener realmente ciudades que ayuden a minimizar las emisiones tóxicas en el futuro y a tener un mejor planeta. Konjan, we were talking about that we would like to have better cities, that mitigate all the damage that we have been doing to the planet according with the toxic emissions, and to help with this situation of the climate change and the warming of everywhere around the world. But the implementation is always complicated because even that we have a lot of technology that can help, we need a very good, political decisions. And that's my question. What are the key problems that you have been facing in order to political decisions?
Yes, I think so. Thank you, Luis. Political, the power, the change of policy is the key for this application, for this implementation. So one of my book is called Elected Leaders of China. It's in English, now been translated into English. I write elected to top leadership in China, the president, the prime minister, the mayors, the governors. You will see that because of Chinese leadership being understanding, I think this ecological movement in China is because of leadership. They have these ideas that we need a sponge or ecologically based solution. You will see that sponge city become a national campaign. So the Chinese Congress and President Xi also promote the idea of sponge city. And it's in China, we have said the central government subsidize the sponge city movement. Each city, if they are listed as a model city, the central government will support a certain amount of seed money, but certainly the local government will together work with sponge city. Now, so that's why I think we need to convince the local mayor, the regional governor, and the top leadership to change the policy. Policy is number one. And certainly, along with that, is the mentality of the engineers, of the hydrological engineer, of the civil engineers. Now, because our whole intellectual system is built based on the Renaissance. After Renaissance, it's a science we call engineer solutions. It's a stratified, divided understanding. We have, we are so easy, so a business as usual model to use the Army Corps. In America, for example, in your country, maybe similar organization to build this heavy infrastructure. It is based so-called science, but actually that's not complete science. That's only single-minded solution, right? We have to understand, for people to understand that. Now we need a different knowledge, different intellectual system. We even have to change the code system. The old code system is always like hydro engineer, the civil engineering doing that, the pipe system. Now, when climate change, all these needed to change. And also we have to understand that as the Mexican cities, like in my countries, we are virtually being colonized by these industrialized, we call the early developed cultures, right? We simply copied this European originated infrastructure framework, like the pipe system, like the water system, like all these. Now, I didn't complain about that. I will say that because all these great infrastructure is developed based on the European climate, whereas climate is quite mild, I have to say. So when they come to cities, come to regions like Mexico, like China's monsoon climate, they fail. They easily fail. So that's why we have to think that nature-based solution means indigenous culture-based solution. Because culture is adaptation to nature. So don't forget, we have 2,000 years adaptation wisdom. Now to recover this kind of wisdom and upgrade those, combined with modern science, modern understanding of the system, we can develop much better adaptable solutions. Now that's, I think, so policy, knowledge system, legal, the court system are the major difficulties we have to overcome.
Thank you
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And you will also remember having met IñAKI ECHEVERRÍAY, developing a huge, vast ecological park, 14,000 hectares in Texcoco, in the basin of Mexico. Please, IñAKI, if you want to follow.
Buenas tardes a todos. Qué gusto. Professor Yu, it's a pleasure to talk to you again. My question is, it goes a little bit beyond the Mexican context or the Mexican reality. I think that these major challenges that we're facing are actually global. And I find it really interesting that your idea of the sponge city has evolved into this ambition of a sponge planet. Now, the territorial impact of world urban sprawl poses gigantic sustainability challenges, particularly in the context of climate change and the emergence of the megacity as an ubiquitous condition. The intensive water use and pollution of the major infrastructure that support these systems has to do not with the cities themselves, but actually with agricultural infrastructure worldwide. About 75% of the treated water available that exists in the world is devoted to this sector, and in some countries it reaches even 90% of the water that is consumed. So basically it means that if we don't tackle the agricultural sector, which means animals and feeding biofuels and also feeding ourselves, it won't work. So how do you address world drought against the need to feed 9 to 10 billion people, which will be the world population by 2050, and fight the huge corporate interests that lie behind these systems of food infrastructure or aliment infrastructure, while restoring and preserving the world's more important habitats that have to do with water and what you are doing within the city limits, let's say?
Very good question. Now that's exactly I want to address, to extend this sponge city to go beyond the city boundary to the to the sponge farm, to the sponge region, and sponge field, sponge waterway, watershed, yeah, and the mountain. Now, water is the only element that can be recycled infinite. Water can be recycled infinitely, right? So if we understand that, if you can recycle the water wisely, we will have plenty of water, as I said. The problem is that because we have a seasonal change of precipitation, we have too much water during certain days because that causes flood. And we run out of water, that causes drought. Farming in North America, particularly, I would say, farming, say, dry out, say, drain away, the dry out is the aquifer. And during the rainy season, they drain away the water, right? The dry season, they pump our water from ground, and during the rainy season, they flush away the flood. Now, that's why the cost the groundwater depletion, groundwater sinking, groundwater drop 20 meters or even 30 meters or even 50 meters. Now, that's the problem. We are linear, industrial. It is industrialized farming, single flow, not a circle, not a recycle, not a cycle economy. So I think that's the only problem that causes the running out of water. And because you're running out of water, the water goes to the ocean. Now that causes sea level rising, right? That causes sea level rising. So if you have sponge planet, you suck up, you retain the water, you reduce the sea level rise, at least by 40%, I have to say, based on science. Maybe more, I would say, because if you have water in the city, if you have water in the farmland, you will cool off. You will cool off the temperature also. Now that go back to Dr. Lewis' question. Water actually can solve multiple problems today we are facing. Urban heat. If you have water in the middle of the city, you can reduce temperature by 5 to 10 degrees actually. If you have a sponge in the middle of the city, you can reduce the temperature, particularly in Mexico City, in California, in dry area, you can dramatically reduce the temperature. So now that's the idea. Filling the groundwater, filling the aquifer, use a sponge, makes the landscape porous anywhere. Yeah, that's the idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yu.
You have so many questions and time is running out. You told us, Pongyan, that maybe a little 5-10 minutes, and we will keep up the questions. Vamos a recoger todas las preguntas para podérselas enviar a nuestro querido maestro. Pongyan, very quickly, how is China doing with 250 cities now under the Sponge City Plan, Sponge Territories Plan? Do you think it's after 5-7 years of having tried it, has it turned from the gray infrastructure paradigm into a green and blue paradigm? Where are you? ¿Cómo va Pongyan con su experiencia china transformando el paradigma? Thank you, Pongyan.
I have to say that even I have done 1,000 projects in 200 cities. My project may be still only 1% or 2% of the projects done all over China. I have to say it is a revolution and it's not easy. China, I have to collect that China have about 70 cities listed as sponge city model, sponge city experiment, not 200 cities. I have done project in more than 200 cities, but the city-wise, only about 70 cities being subsidized and officially listed as the sponge city action model examples for as the Chinese official list. So that's a need to collect. So I have to say that it is a fundamental change of the mentality of the intellectual, academia, engineer, and everywhere. You need to change it. So China is still facing the challenge. We didn't solve the problem yet. We are far away from being solved the problem, because it needs maybe another 20 years to transform the mindset. School, universities, people still teaching how to build a dam, teaching how to build an aquifer, aqueduct. People still talking about investing more on the concrete and drainage. No, that's still going on. It's my own promotion that says that sponge city, maybe only several other people, but still not the mainstream. Even the policy supports that, but we still need the capacity building. People branding the city. Every city branding their city as a sponge city. Every city branding their city as an eco city, but that's not necessarily real ecological city or real sponge city. But I can see that over the past 10 years, the Chinese government, the efforts, the Chinese government get payback, get good return, because, for example, Beijing, Haikou, Sanya city, we literally solve the problem dramatically, but not necessarily absolutely solve the problem, because we still needed to fix a vast scale landscape. I remember industrialization, urbanization happened in the world. I mean, at a vast scale is already 300 years or even more. We built a city, at large scale. When you have to collect it, we just only 10 years, right? We need more time to actually understand that, more capacity to build it, and certainly we need more project to do it. Yeah.
We wish you the best success. Imagine if you in China initiated such a big move. Your world influence will influence even more China. Time is running out. We would love to speak with you, have Jose Luis and Carlos and IÑAKI and LAURENT, but we don't want to exploit too much of your time. You have been wonderful. And anyway, do you have any recommendations for us, for Oaxaca, as concluding point? Oaxaca wants to become a sponge city. What would be your advice?
Well, I think it's so wonderful that Oaxaca, the leadership there, understand and support this campaign. I will say that Oaxaca, if you can do it right, now it's for you, for our designers, for landscape architects, for engineers, for the scientists to understand that. Be careful. Capacity building is so important right now to make this project less expensive, less management, make it right, because it is a demonstration. Don't spend too much money. You don't need to spend too much money. Don't to build something fancy. Nature can take care of it. You have to understand that this kind of project is nature-based completely. So in the past 2 days, right now, we have these governors from California, Massachusetts, we have governors from Brazil, we have governors from Kenya, we have governors participating in this conference. I was so happy to say that they all welcome the concept of the sponge planet idea, particularly in the developing countries. I already get so many invitations from Kenya, from Africa, from Brazil, from North America, even to do sponsorship in there. You know, I was so encouraging because, as I said, the carbon credit things will not work very well. It's totally needed to do more work to do. Yeah, as I've discussed with Daniel. And we find that water is workable, and the sponsorship is adaptation and emergent urgency adaptation in terms of climate change. Meanwhile, it can work across the scale. And I have to say that it is not expensive. People misunderstood that sponsorship is expensive. I have to say it's not. So yeah, that I will celebrate that Mexico will become the leader in global change, in global sponsorship movement. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Luis. Thank you, our team. Wonderful.
Thank you so much to you, Kongyan.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Adiós a todos los amigos. Adiós. Qué gusto
Thank you very
verlos.
much, Dr. Yu.
Bye, Kongyan.
Saludos a todos. Gracias, Daniel.
Bye. Saludos.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Buen día a todos. Gracias, Dr. Yu.
Gracias,
Gracias,
Daniel.
muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias,
Gracias,
Daniel.
Daniel, por la invitación.
Muchas gracias.
Todos, gracias.
Chao.